Hello, my MGTOW brothers, back again in for another episode. And before I get started on this particular video, I want to clear up some things. There are comments going on in the background that have to do with me using this. If you've seen the video before last, I use this as an example to start explaining the universe in female nature, specifically the nature of the universe being designated female. I use this example because this one was the basis of most creation stories in most religions. Even the creation story in physics that we call the Big Bang. And I went through this because a subscriber had questions about it, and I used this example to clarify them. Because the video, after all, was about esoteric philosophy. Now, the comments that have been going on in the background that this doesn't make sense and there's no relevance in actuality with this particular model. If you remember the video, I was explaining that the noon in Menfite theology, the noon was an undifferentiated state that the universe had before creation. And an undifferentiated state meant that all the particles were uniform throughout the whole universe until MGTOW, if you want to, for lack of a better term, the MGTOW particle differentiated its state, and then those two states created a different particle, which was called a tomb. Now, this seems to be like an old wives' tale and a myth until you look at this picture. This is a picture or representation of the Higgs boson particle being created by two high-speed protons being smashed together. And according to the physicists there at Bern, they say they found the particular particle, or they call the God particle, that actually is the building block of the universe. Now we call that building block MGTOW, or the particle MGTOW in Menfite theology. Now if you remember the video, I showed you a picture of this with MGTOW rising up out of the noon and holding the other particles, or holding the other gods aloft into the real world, or into the physical world. Now, doesn't that particular diagram or picture look like this diagram? With the God particle, or the Higgs boson particle, holding up the other quarks out of the noon, or the undifferentiated state, into the physical world. Doesn't it look like that? That's why I put it in. It's just another picture. It's something for you to ponder on. But I'm not going to spend any more time on that. That being said, okay, this time what I really want to talk about is divine or esoteric male nature. We're going to do the same thing for the men that we did for the women. What I decided to go back to is the diagram of the Menfite theology creation story we just looked at, and do it, instead of from the female perspective, we're going to do it from the male perspective. Now, if you remember, I said that the MGTOW, or the active state, represented the male, and the noon represented the passive or inactive state, representing female. So basically, MGTOW, or the active state, supplied the energy and the creativity to fashion the physical world from the female. Now this is a picture of Ptah representing the God particle, if you will, fashioning the cosmic egg or the universe from the material of the noon, or the clay of the noon. We always talk about women being 100 pounds of clay, right? Now here is a picture of a cosmic egg, or what astronomers call a cosmic egg. Some believe this is what the creation of the universe actually looked like after the Big Bang. Yeah, see for yourself. You can agree or disagree, but that is a representation of a cosmic egg that Ptah is shaping. The male energy is considered to be the active state, and the female is considered to be the material. I'm saying that to say this. The esoteric male are creators. They are doers. They are builders. So when we think of ourselves as utility, in a divine sense we are. The same way Ptah is a utility, or Atum is a utility, for building the world that we live in. Men do the same thing. And we don't do it just for women, we do it for ourselves, because that is the nature of men. That is the nature of the male. Now here is a representation of the male energy, Atum, represented as Kanum. You can see what he's doing. He is shaping man, or shaping the human being as a representation of himself. You notice the ram's head and the horns represent the aggressive male energy. Now here is a Christian version of Atum, or Yahweh, along with his helpers, transferring his spark into his image from Atum to Adam. Adam is considered to be the first man, or basically transferring the male energy, the male creative energy, into man. I am saying that to say this is as above, so below, and the masculine is the creative force in the universe. Then as the masculine in human form, you should see the same thing. Knowing what we know, how does this help us with male-female relationships? We have to put females in perspective. A female is your vessel, not your goddess. Just like you, she's there for a purpose. And her purpose is to facilitate your creative energy. So when you acquire a woman, and I do mean acquire a woman because that's what you're doing when you date and you spend your money and you accept her into your life, you're acquiring a woman, you're acquiring a vessel. So when you acquire it, she's just like a tool. You have to have a use for her in mind. She is an outlet for you. And if she doesn't fill that role, guess what? She's no good to you. Picking a girl as your woman just because she's hot doesn't make sense. If there's no substance to her, there's no material in her personality that you can work with, she's no good. She's a container full of holes, full of porous material, and you're going to pour your light or your creative energy into her, and guess what? Just like a container with holes in it, it's going to run right out. And the more you pour into her, the more it's going to run out the other side, like Sisyphus rolling the rock up the hill just to have it roll back down at the end of the night. So a tin with a hole in her that's janky, it's just like that container that's porous. It's better to get you a solid 5 or 6 that meets your need than that adulterated tin. That adulterated tin riding the car carousel is like a burner cell phone. That smartphone that you pay hundreds of dollars for, So when it runs out of minutes or you run out of minutes, you got to toss it. That's what you're buying. You're buying a burner smartphone. That's what PUAs do. They're treating women like burner smartphones. They're spending all their time and money chasing, inquiring, only when they run out of minutes to toss it aside, and it's no good to them. You should look at women like useful tools, because in the beginning that's what they were. They were useful tools. They were not goddesses to be adored. They were there to do a certain amount of work and provide a certain amount of material that you could create with. Your strength, your creativity is the prize. Courting used to be the opportunity for that woman to prove that she was worthy material for your acquisition. It's been turned on its head in modern days for a woman to use your creativity and your resources to waste on dates and entertainment. So emotional love and lust are secondary to a woman fulfilling your needs and being a vessel for your goals. Her loyalties lie to her nest and her offspring. Your loyalty lies to your creativity and your creation. That's why you acquire her. Your children's are your creation. And your loyalty lies not to her, but to that which you create. So your occupation, your job, your knowledge, your quest for knowledge, all that comes first. That comes before her, not after. In the old days, it's not that women weren't important. They were secondary to a man's mission, his life's mission, whatever that is. And if modern women can't facilitate that, us as MGTOWs, we have to go our own way. We have to do our own thing, because our ultimate goal is to fulfill our creative spirit, our creative mission in our life. To give you an example, look at J.K. Rowling's character, Harry Potter. Notice the name. Whether J.K. Rowling did it consciously or unconsciously, she tapped into something. Harry Potter, in the role of Kanoom, is the divine potter, shaping the world with his magic, his creativity, and his wand. And his companion, his woman, was a vessel that facilitated his quest for knowledge and the creativity and for him to discover himself. She was never the primary object. She was always secondary, and secondary to his role and his mission in life. And if you have a woman, that's what it should be. That woman is secondary. You have to remember that. The modern world has got us to believe, this feminized world has got us to believe that that woman is primary, and your loyalty to her is primary. It's not. It's secondary to your mission. It's secondary to your creativity. It's secondary to your divine masculine nature. So that rebellious spirit you feel in your gut, that's what it's trying to tell you. That your divine creative spirit is being suppressed and it wants to break out, and that's why you're here. You have to remember, you are the potter. The world and the feminine is the clay. You are the divine creative force in the world. The masculine energy is the active force. It shapes and creates the world, and it shapes and creates human civilization and societies. The female is but a vessel, is passive. It's material through which you shape. It's an outlet for your creativity. It's a container for your light. Societies, civilizations, organizations, and females in particular were always thought to do what they call settle men down. What do I mean by that? Young, wild male energy is what? Unfocused, unbridled. It really can't do work because it's scattered. What is a lens? A lens is a container or redirector of light. That used to be a woman's purpose. She was a director, a container, a guide, so that his light could create through. When you get into a relationship or you get into a marriage, what does a woman come with? She comes with demands, and she comes with wants. She doesn't come with any ideas on how to do it. She just comes with needs and wants. Now, normally, if it's a good container, it's a pure container, it's something that's unadulterated, that container or that lens would be clear, and it would directly focus that light so that light could do work, that light could be productive, that light could be elevating. In the modern world, that structure has broken down. That woman that used to be the pure container or the pure glass through which you could focus your light and shape the world is not there anymore. So what do? Now as MGTOWs, we have to go out and we have to be our own lens. We have to use the world as our clay, as our material now. We have to create outside of the norm. Our instincts tell us to look for our other half, to look for our material through our woman. But you can't anymore.